We are the California connection for professional HR leaders. We hold events in both Northern and Southern California, and we are an affiliate of HRPS, HR People and Strategy, which is a national organization for executive HR leaders. We need to be agile going forward. How do we do that? How do we get our companies, how do we best get them agile? So for all these disruptions that are going to continue to happen, all the changes that are happening, how do we keep our organizations agile?
Through, a sort of touch on some of the things that this group of Create leaders put together. It really has very little to do with me and everything to do with, the folks that you'll be seeing up on stage and a whole group of other people that volunteered and created teams and that sort of thing. So it's just a great pleasure for me to be able to just be, in a way, the spokesperson for that. And along the way, I'll share a couple of my ideas, but mostly it's smart things they came up with, and then I get to talk about them, and then you all introduce me as sage and guru, and so it's great. You're not hearing me. What are we doing about the future? So I said, you're one of the top people in the world. You're doing great work in HR. You're written up in the magazines, all that stuff, and they said, yes, thank you. You're still not hearing me. Okay. So basically what Ian and I decided to do, we got some generous contributions from the Society for HR Management and the National Academy of HR. This is 2013. And we said, look, what we'll do is we'll interview about 40 of you that are coming to us and saying, you're not hearing me, and we'll try and codify what you mean by we have got to get on with the future of HR. And these people are saying, nah, we're not there. The progress we're making isn't getting it. And so we're going to hit a tipping point much sooner than 2025, and the world's going to wake up and realize that we're not caught up. That's the negative way to put it. The positive way to put it is we have all these opportunities, and we're just not sure we're ready for them, even in the best of our companies.
I have a personal mission to help reinvent the profession. And I think that we all sometimes, if we step back and look at ourselves, feel like we really have let ourselves become stale. And it's really our moment right now to capitalize on what we're learning about the future of work and really reinvent what the future of HR means for business. But what's happening now is the rate of change in the world of work is accelerating. It is really exponential. And if we don't exponentially change, we will be left behind, and I believe risk irrelevancy. And I know that's a dramatic statement, but I really see it every day where we're not stepping up and playing the role that we can play and that CEOs need us to play. They will find a solution elsewhere. How do you deal with that? This one study said 58% of UK workers expect the office to be extinct. How many of you are grappling with work from home policies and flex time policies and contemplating, 980s and all these different configurations to give people more time to control their personal life, right? So when you start to think of this combination of 50% of the workforce being freelance and people potentially not coming to the office, what does that mean? Who does need to come into the office and for what purpose? And so I think it's a daunting problem to solve. I think we've built infrastructures from top down, everything around everybody being under one roof in order to get work done. But now, as we have this talent shortfall, but an ability to connect globally around the world and people wanting to freelance, what does the organization of the future look like?
When we started to look at the change, we were, I expect in my team, I was very adamant that this is not a HR issue, it's an organization issue. And what you find in the process is the data is presented at the table. People will be able to read the data and act on that data. You're not forcing a HR perspective to business people, so it's a comfortable conversation. What we would say is if you go through the exercise with your HR team so that you're familiar with this, when you go to the business, use a different facilitator so that you're part of the experience. This is a snippet of the whole experience. It expands into some tools that will help you do the kind of so what do we need to do, what do we need to change.
looking at your companies and looking at where your data lakes exist, using that to drive the conversations is critical. So to be able to, get those insights, be those conversation designers, those dot connectors, and frankly, those analytic storytellers is an incredibly powerful thing and can truly make a significant impact in any company.
As Edie said so well, these aren't jobs, these aren't positions. These are extraordinary leaders with capabilities. The other thing I want to push you on that's common for each of these leaders is people talk about who comes into and out of HR. And I want you to think about it completely differently. I want you to think about connected ecosystems. I was analyzing all my colleagues' backgrounds, and we have engineers and material science. We have people with really creative multi-industry, multi-discipline, multi-function. So imagine a world in which you're not necessarily saying, come into HR, but you're saying, I want to connect all these capability sets that show up in these new age skills and come be part of the movement that really does drive the expertise on human capital. Intel's been around for about 50 years now, and we think of Intel as a technology company, but being around that long, you become, I call, an old company, right? With a lot of the bureaucracy, a lot of the legal risks that come up with such a big organization. We wanted to ensure that what we built as a culture would in turn drive some of these concepts of what users were looking for, as well as support the design components that I talked about earlier. So I think culture is where we spent a lot of our time initially to ensure that we were going to be successful with this program. We even hired...
Fortunately, Brian, Joe, and Nate created the mission and the values before they hired one employee. And it was really important to them that they thought about what kind of place they wanted to create from a work perspective. And for the first 500 people, they interviewed every single person with that lens of the core values. And it is all about, is their intent in joining Airbnb because they want to create a world where anyone can belong anywhere? And will they further our values through the way we've defined them as behaviors? And we ask questions, and they can answer personally or professionally, and through that we're assessing to what extent they're going to further our values. They're going to be part of what we've created. And the nice part is, as you'll see, the values are very diverse and instill a lot of diversity. So we're not trying to create a homogeneous environment. We're just trying to create a place where people are coming for the right reason and they're going to work together in an environment where they're all going to get along.